Have you ever wondered how you would react to an experience that pushes the human body to its absolute limits? I'm not talking about holding your breath longer than anyone else or lifting the heaviest weight. I mean being forced to the very edge of survival by one of the most inhospitable environments on the planet. Imagine enduring a relentless, destructive assault on your mind and body that makes you slip into craziness, and doing this for more than 2 years. That's right, more than 730 days and nights fighting for your life. Due to fear of shocking the public, no one talks about what some individuals had to endure for us to have the knowledge we have today. But you are ready to hear the truth. In this video, we will dive into the unspeakable story of the Coppermine expedition of 1819 in the Arctic Circle, led by Sir John Franklin, a formidable British explorer of his time. With his men, they did what not even a beast would do. To discover the darkest horrors they faced, be sure to watch until the end. The expedition began in Hudson Bay, Canada. Their aim was to reach the mouth of the Coppermine River and then map the coastlines of the area, which was largely unknown at the time. This journey required crossing thousands of kilometers on foot through wetland snow and ice. Their only shelter was tents, and their only food was what they could carry on their backs. Captain Franklin knew from the start, the tiniest mistake or bad luck could be fatal, but he couldn't have guessed the extent of what was to come. On September 9, 1819, Franklin and his men set off toward their objective with a positive mindset, initially using kayaks along the rivers. But as feared, fate soon kicked in. The harsh terrain and uneven rivers forced them to carry their boats across land masses for days on end. During one of these operations, Franklin slipped and fell into water that was near 0 degrees Celsius. Despite the tremendous cold and the strong current, he found the strength to grab a nearby branch. His limbs totally numb, he hung there for over an hour in the freezing water before being rescued by his team. You think this would be hard to handle? You are not ready for what's coming. This crew of around 20 determined men traveled more than 2,000 kilometers in 18 months under worsening conditions through winter, with temperatures falling to a staggering minus 55 Celsius. Even some of the husky dogs pulling the sleds didn't survive. Just remember, these guys slept in tents every night, and you start to understand the tragedy that was unfolding. But this is just the beginning. Wait for what follows. They reached a place near the Coppermine River, where they built a camp named Fort Enterprise. They constructed a solid house of stone and wood to spend the winter of 1820 just outside the Arctic Circle, and waited until the next summer to progress further north. Even with a shelter, the wall thermometer showed minus 50 degrees Celsius on the entrance at Christmas. The rum they attempted to drink turned into syrup. Axes broke on tree trunks. When they fished from the icy shores, the fish froze instantly as soon as they were out of the water. Franklin remembered seeing some salmon being warmed up at the campfire after 36 hours frozen and coming back to life. Imagine spending all winter in such a luxurious estate. At the beginning of June 1821, they set out for the hardest part of their trip, going right through the Arctic Circle. They had to return to their camp before winter hit back and they got trapped by ice roads and heavy snow. In August, after more than 400 kilometers newly explored partly by boat, they had to continue entirely on foot, with each man carrying 45 kilograms of equipment. It was still summer, but the temperature was already dropping to minus 7 degrees Celsius in the coming days. It's the end of the short Arctic summer. In a matter of weeks, snow covered everything. Progress became very slow, and food was running out. That's when the extremities of survival diet came into play. They had to hunt to survive, but the intensifying cold left them with only some wild geese to rely on. The harsh winds sometimes prevented them from making a fire, forcing them to eat the meat raw. As prey disappeared, Franklin's team had no choice but to make dire soups with the only edible plant growing on bare rocks, the lichen genus Gyrophora, nicknamed rock tripe by Canadians. It tasted absolutely awful, like bitter rotten meat, and caused severe stomach aches leading to productive diarrhea. But after many days without meat, even this desperate option seemed better than starvation. At last, the hungry men found some meat remains on animal carcasses. You would surely be disgusted by the horrendous smell and nasty appearance. But not them! They made a feast of it, even keeping the skin for later. And that's not all. When even the rotten meat ran out, they resolved to eat their boots and gather any piece of leather they could find, grilling or boiling it into a soup. This diet continued for more than 2 months. Meanwhile, Franklin's team endured this putrid diet while walking under strong winds and snowstorms, with temperatures dropping to -25 degrees Celsius during the day. And remember, they were still on foot and sleeping in freezing tents. From the ongoing traumas, the men started to lose their minds for some parts of the day. This was the perfect formula for the Arctic plague that took limbs and brought unimaginable pain: frostbite. It occurs when some parts of your body get too cold. The body tissue freezes, the blood stops circulating, and the affected part dies and rots. It is a guaranteed, not a friendly sensation. The pain, the handicap of frostbite, and the poor diet brought many men down during the deadly march toward what they thought was their salvation, reaching their base winter camp, Fort Enterprise. It was October 1821. Over there, friends, food, a warm fire, and a dry bed awaited them. Do you think Franklin's team made it alive after what they endured? Do you think you or anyone could survive such a dreadful journey? Whether they survived or not, Franklin and his team deserve our deepest respect and much appreciation for their efforts and exceptional courage in the pursuit of extending human knowledge. Thank you for paying tribute by watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to finally find out if Captain John Franklin and his team survived this expedition and hear more similar stories, see you in the next video.